Hey everyone, it's Reilly with another all-English episode. I hope you guys had a good full week of work after Golden Week. I know it was pretty hard for me, like after, 5 days off or whatever, and then a nice 2-day work week going back to working 5 days. Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't fun, you know what I mean? but getting back in the groove and everything like that, it was only 5 days off, but it was so nice, and it's hard to get back into that mindset of going to work every day. But yeah, I'm kind of counting down the days until I don't have to do that. In about a month, almost exactly a month, I'm gonna start my paternity leave for my son. And I think I've said, maybe I've said on the podcast before that I'm having a boy. I know I've said I'm having a baby, but it's a boy. I think I've said that, but just in case I haven't. Middle of June, I'll be taking paternity leave for about a month, and helping Yuki out after she gives birth, and then helping to take care of the baby and all that. Both our moms actually are going to come. Her mom is going to stay with us, and my mom is going to stay in a hotel just for the first week to she wants to meet the baby as early as possible, I guess. And then Yuki's mom is going to stay with us and help out around the house and everything, I think for 3 weeks or a month. And then after that, my mom might come back and help out. That's the plan now, but I think that my mom's stay is not 100% decided yet. But yeah, I'm excited, scared, all of that. But it'll be something new and an adventure, I guess you could say. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to talk about my kid in this episode, and I guess what I want him to be like, what I hope that he grows up to be like. Instagrams. Mine is Reilly Sullivan XD, and Sota is Eigo no Sota. Please follow us if you want. I haven't posted, but I should post some pictures I took of a recent road trip I did with my friend around Yoshinogawa in Tokushima. We went to Iya Valley and we saw some big trees and some stuff like that. So maybe I'll post some pictures of that. I should. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the episode. Okay, so yeah, I said a little bit in the kind of front matter there that what I want my kid to be like is going to be the subject of this episode. And that's, kind of easy. I want my kid to be nice and clever and thoughtful and all and healthy, right? Of course, healthy, whatever. These are the kinds of things that I want my son to be, and that's kind of easy to say, but I think the hard thing is how do I guide my son to become like that, right? How do I raise him so that he becomes a kind and clever and thoughtful adult, or even just whatever, kid, person, right? And yeah, I teach a lot. I teach a lot of kids, I should say. And I see a lot of different personalities. And to be honest, there are some where it's I don't know if I want my kid to act like that. Sometimes kids can be disrespectful or they can bully each other. And I know, most of my students are young, elementary school or kindergarten. So I don't really blame those kids most of the time. They're still young. But at the same time, I would, I think, as a parent, be embarrassed if my kid acted like some of them do. And at the other end of the spectrum, there are some kids that are like, oh, I would be pretty happy if my kid acted like this student does, right? So I think about that sometimes, and mostly it comes down to like kindness, and also sometimes like creativity, I guess you could say, or like being funny in kind of a new way. I really appreciate it when I have students that can be funny in a class while not disrupting the class. You know what I mean? Like some students, many students who are like class clowns, right? They just say like a bad word, you know, they'll say like chinko or unko or whatever, and the other kids in the class laugh. I don't think that's very clever, you know? But if a student can like make a joke about something that's happening in the class and everybody laughs at it, and it kind of like, I don't know, builds the mood of the class in a positive way, I like that. I appreciate that. Or if they can like make, I don't know, something like that. It's kind of difficult to describe, I guess. I don't have any like specific examples I can think of right now. But that kind of thing I really like. And also, of course, kindness. Like, I teach some kindergarten kids once a week, and I had one student who really wanted to play with this toy, and she was like complaining, not quite crying, but like really complaining and saying, like, trying to ask that kid, hey, I really want this toy, and then coming to me, the teacher, and saying like, hey, like, let me play with that toy. I want to play with that toy. And I said, well, you know, this other student is playing with it right now, and he doesn't have to give it to you. If you want to play with it too, you can ask him and maybe you can share. Whatever. Like it just because you want to play with it now doesn't mean you can, right? You have to wait. But that other kid is a very nice boy, just came up to her and said, here, you can play with it. It's okay. Like, I can play with a different toy. I don't mind that much. And I thought that was like really sweet. This girl really wanted to play with it, and obviously it was a big deal to her. She was kind of complaining a lot. And to him, it was just another toy. So if it made her happy, I guess, he was okay giving it to her, and he could play with something different. So I thought that was pretty nice. And if my son can be kind of thoughtful or generous or whatever you would call that, if he can act in that way, then I would be happy. Kind of change the subject a little bit. One thing I think that I've been thinking about a lot about raising a kid is like, you know, I want to keep my kid safe, and I want to make sure my kid has like all the opportunities possible to, you know, be successful, whatever that means. And I think those two things are really interesting because being safe can mean that you don't get like challenged, right? If things are always safe and you always know that you're going to be safe, then you might not have to like develop these skills that keep you safe when the world isn't safe, which, you know, in the real world, it's not. It's kind of like, and maybe this is a bad example, but now, like, I've been living in Japan for 10 years, and I was just talking to my friend about, like, if I went back to New York now and, like, went and took the subway, I don't know if I would have the same kind of, like, awareness or, like, skills to, like, I don't know, keep myself safe on the subway or late at night in New York or something, that I used to have. Because I'm, like, so used to everything being safe now, and you can walk home late at night here, or you can, of course, ride trains at any time and feel safe and all that. But in New York, that's, like, unfortunately not true. You know, the subway can be a little bit dangerous. Or if not dangerous, it can be like gross or uncomfortable because there might be someone riding on it who is, mentally unwell. And, anyway, I won't get into like how gross the subway can be. I'm sure you can imagine. But yeah, back when I lived in New York, it was pretty easy to like recognize, I don't want to go on like that train car because there's not that many people in it, so maybe there's a reason for that or something. Or, when you're walking down the street at night and you see someone coming from the other direction, you figure out, like, okay, do I need to like turn down a different street, or does that person look safe, or these kinds of things like cross your mind when you're late at night in New York. But now living in Japan for all this time and feeling safe for all this time, I don't know if I would have those same skills if I were to go back and live in New York for a while or something. And that kind of feeling is how I feel about raising a kid, where if everything is safe and everything is clean and all that, then when challenges come, dangerous things or whatever, will my kid have the skills to navigate them, right? To get through those difficult times. I don't know. I'm kind of talking in the abstract, so I don't know if this exactly makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. Like, how can I say? Like when I was a kid, for example, after school, I would walk to and from school in elementary school, which I know is common in Japan, but is not really common in the U.S. I just happen to live very close to my elementary school. And so then after school, my friends and I would usually just play on the playground, the school playground for, 30 minutes or so right after school let out before we like started walking home. And our parents like knew we did this, so it wasn't a problem, but they weren't able to see us playing on the playground, right? They weren't actually like supervising us or anything like that. So it was like a little bit kind of, dangerous is not the right word, but I remember a few times there were some bigger kids also on the playground, and there were like some, I don't want to say fights because we were in elementary school, but there were some small like kind of scuffles where kids would push each other and stuff. And we kind of had to deal with these situations ourselves without adults there, which like, luckily I haven't gotten in a fight since like elementary school, but the fact that I did is, maybe kind of a good thing because maybe it made me tough. Not saying I'm tough at all because I'm definitely not. I don't think I could fight pretty much anybody. But the point is that like that situation of freedom is maybe not the right word, but like where there's a little bit of chaos where not everyone is following the rules, so you have to understand how to stay safe, I guess, in an environment that maybe is dangerous. Not that the playground outside my elementary school is dangerous, but maybe you get my point. It's kind of silly. I think I'm saying all this while I myself had probably a pretty safe upbringing, right? Like I lived in a neighborhood pretty near to an elementary school. It wasn't like I lived in a dangerous neighborhood, dangerous area, or anything like that. So, probably other people would look at how I was raised and think like, oh, Reilly doesn't know how to like navigate dangerous situations because he had a safe or sheltered, might be the word, sheltered upbringing, which is probably true. That's probably fair. But it is something that I think about. Like I want some things to be difficult for my kid, so that when things are like actually difficult, when he gets older, maybe high school or college, or once he leaves the house, he's a little bit better at it because he's dealt with difficult things before. Yeah, sorry, that was a long thing on that safety situation that maybe I didn't even explain very well. Otherwise, what kind of person do I want him to be? About, like, what kind of job do I want him to have, or how much money do I want him to make, or anything like that. I mean, I don't know. Job is, like, I would like him to do a job that he likes, if that's possible. I would like him to have a job, if that's possible. And I would like him to maybe do something, hopefully, that helps people in some way. I would not like him to do a job that hurts people. I'm not going to, I don't know, like, maybe I'm not going to give any examples of jobs that I think might hurt people, but, I don't know if he's like a loan shark or something where he gives people loans at very high interest rates that he probably knows that they can't pay back, like a gangster type situation. I wouldn't like that, for example, of course. But kind of other than that, I'm okay with him doing basically whatever he wants to do. As long as it doesn't hurt anybody. And in terms of money, like, I don't know, enough so that he can survive. And I don't even mean so that he can survive on his own, as I hope that I will be in a place financially where I can help my son even after he, like, leaves the house, financially and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would be disappointed if my kid doesn't become a millionaire, whatever that means. If my son doesn't drive a luxury German car or whatever, something like that. Like, I don't really care that much about that kind of thing. I don't think of that as success. Maybe academic success. There's something there. Like, I know in Japan, maybe even starting from, like, kindergarten, from yochien, or from elementary school even, things can be kind of competitive about going to, like, a good school. I think probably most likely from kindergarten, Yuki and I are not going to care, and elementary will be the same. He'll just go to wherever's closest, basically. Certainly for elementary school. And then, yeah, junior high school, probably the same. And then high school, I know high school is really when kids have to study to, like, get into, like, the good high school. And that almost determines your future in some ways in Japan, right? If you get into the good high school, then that raises your chances. If you study hard, you can get into the good university. And then if you do well at the good university, you can get the good job at the good company. And then, as it goes, you can kind of live a good life after that. I guess that's the kind of the idea, right? And I guess I'm assuming here that my kid stays in Japan. I guess that's my assumption. I have no, like, real strong feeling that he must stay in Japan, or even that Yuki and I, must stay in Japan. I mean, at the moment, that's the plan, but, something could come up, and we could have to go back to the United States, or want to go back, or maybe a different country. Who knows? But anyway, yeah, for academic stuff, I think I don't want him to be, like, lazy and not try hard. But I think, how can I say, like, it's hard to imagine pushing him really hard to, like, study 8 hours a day, go to Juku, and all this kind of stuff. I think if I feel like he's trying hard enough, and he's, I don't know, what can I say, like, intellectually stimulated? Does that make sense? Like, if he's reading a lot, or if he's writing, or if he's doing something creative, I'd be okay with that, even if he's not, like, the top 10 in his class, or whatever, that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know. And all this could change. If I'm talking about, like, high school, I'm talking, like, not 18, but 15 years from now, or whatever. So things could change. Maybe my opinions will change as I raise a kid for 15 years. Who knows? But at the moment, that's how I'm thinking. I I probably left out a lot of the kind of person that I want my kid to be, but I'm approaching 20 minutes of recording time here, so I should probably leave it at that. I maybe rambled a little bit this episode, but it's kind of hard to organize my thoughts on what kind of person I want my son to be. I think I'll just be happy if he grows up, relatively healthy and happy. So yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks for listening. I think that's all I have to say. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.